Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as I was saying, socialism, governments are not the best to operate a business. So they are not as efficient. That's one of the arguments people use, that governments are not efficient operators of business. So they are not as profitable as private competitors. In addition to the issue that I mentioned about favoritism and favorable treatments, when government is competing with the private sector in the same business. Now, in most cases, this socialism is very close to what we get these days. So these days, a lot of economic systems are what are called mixed market systems, mixed economies, meaning there is some aspect of government and private existing side by side. So in real life, a lot of economic systems are mixed systems. So mixed market, systems, mixed economic systems basically are the most prevalent systems that you get. So you don't have a pure capitalist, you don't have pure communism, but you have a mixture of both. Very close to socialism. Only that socialism is emphasizing more on social protection. So a lot of countries which are so-called socialist countries, they emphasize government intervention is quite big. So it's not like a mixture of 50-50. It's probably a mixture of 60-40, government being the bigger part. And in a country such as Malawi, we are somehow close to that, where government is a very big thing in the economy. All businesses are big businesses. If you are to be involved in big businesses, you have to align with government. In the education sector, you cannot say there's 50-50. In the health sector, you cannot say there's 50-50. You have more government than private sector. In energy, in water, in a lot of sectors, you find maybe government is 90%, private sector is 10%, or 80%, private sector 20%. So it's more of, government than private sector. So still, because they are both available, we can say we are a mixed economic system. Now, the last one, which is called fascism. Fascism is a nationalistic type of economic system where the government forces business to place the interest of the nation above the company's interest. So it's national interests take precedence. So the system emphasizes that everybody should put national interest first. Businesses should put national interest first. So above business interests, as you know, business interests are to make profit, not to save people. So fascism is basically about dictating what business owners need to do. So the emphasis is on national building. So in order to do that, government has to be very strong. And it has to have a strong military, for example. Because how do you force government, private sector or businesses to put national interests first? So you need a very strong government for you to do that. And so you have to have a very strong military force. So this is where, for example, military governments, or sometimes, for example, you remember, maybe you have read in history where you had Bachina Hitler, Bachina Stalin,
Yes.
There are some figures. There are some figures that people follow in such a system. You have very powerful individuals, very powerful government, run by a powerful figure which everybody follows. This is sometimes very similar to where some people adore or worship a leader, and that leader drives them to a national agenda. Very similar to, similar to what you find in Malawi for some political parties.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, I don't mean to offend you, Joseph. For example, UTM followers, they are driven by Chidima.
Right.
It's not the party. It's the individual charisma.
Yes.
People believe that Chidima can do wonders. So if you have such a leader and the followers are like that, you cannot tell them anything. So it's usually this kind of system revolves around a person. A person who drives the whole nation towards a national goal. Yeah, so it's a very nationalistic system where everybody is told what to do. And the justification is for national interest. And you have to have a charismatic leader. You have to have a strong military force behind it. That's why you also have places where they have military leaders. They can do what they want and drive a national agenda that they want. So you have, I don't know, here in Africa, some like Mabuto Sese Seko's at that time, the dictators, for example. Of course, sometimes these dictators do not do it for national interests. In most cases, in Africa, for example, we have seen them doing it for themselves. or their families,
Yes.
or their cronies, their friends, their parties. But that's the idea of fascism. Just like it happened kwa Hitler, Germany kuja, people were following a leader, Adolf Hitler. And they were referred to as fascists. That's why you get this thing about fascists. Oh, they are just fascists, meaning they are so, it's like a cat leader, for example, religious cults, where people, are willing to die, or they are told that, oh, Jesus is coming tomorrow, and, so everybody should, and we should all drink poison, and people do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's about fascism. It's not very common though. But sometimes you can find it there. Then above all this, we also have sometimes people say traditional economic system, which is not listed here. Traditional economic system is based on the fact that systems are based on traditions. So you have kings, you have traditions that are governing the allocation of resources. Who owns what? So the king is the owner of all that land, or the village headman owns the land. And you all can use it based on his favor. So all beliefs are what controls people's organization of factors of production. So land is traditionally owned, labor, some of these traditions, for example, you don't own anything, it's only owned by the village chief, and they can also tell you, today you are gonna go, all of you, and do this. So the labor is also controlled, where you are gonna work tomorrow, and what you should do for the community is, it's a tradition based. And some people like to talk about traditional market system, economic system. Yeah, so don't be surprised if you Google and find that some people will talk about traditional economic system as one of the systems. So we are done. Any question? I've held you for a long time today, so thanks for being available. We have covered some ground. If God willing, next Saturday we might meet in person. If there is any topic that has been included in the exam that I've not covered, I'll call you and set up another Zoom meeting to do that topic. But at the moment we stop here. But God willing, on Saturday, I might be available, and we can do areas of study in preparation for your exam. If Satan goes into play and I'm not available, I'm not able, we'll still have a Zoom meeting about areas of study. So, so we should stop there for today.
I think yesterday I talked about restricted currency. I said I needed some clarification, maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes of your clarification.
No, we can handle that next time we meet.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I'll remind you. Okay.
sure.
Thank you, sir.
Good. So I would say Breast Sunday. I cannot say have a nice weekend at the moment because it's already over.
Yes.
Yeah, so good day, Joseph.
Thank you, sir. You should also have a good Sunday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.